Welcome to On the X. Today's episode is a special compilation focused on health, fitness, and optimizing your performance, covering everything from nutrition and recovery to training strategies and mindset. First up, we'll hear from Cheryl Zonkowski, dietitian and nutritionist with over 20 years of experience and the founder of Catalyzt Nutrition. She breaks down 3 of the top nutrition mistakes people make when trying to improve their health and how to avoid them. So here we go with Cheryl Zonkowski on the X. Everything you said that I want to kind of like peel back a little bit. Just in terms of when people come to you, is there like a one thing you typically see where people are like just totally doing it wrong, or a handful of things where it's like that seems to be the thing over and over that they come to you that they're doing wrong, that maybe they don't realize too, that they're like, what, really? I shouldn't do that?
So I would say that there's 3
Okay.
that I see the most frequently. The first one is people are not hydrating enough. They're just not drinking enough water. And the first signs and symptoms of dehydration are irritability, fatigue, aches and pains, and brain fog. So the main things that people come to me to work on, I will typically, 15, 20 minutes into the conversation, ask them about water. And I can actually see like the disappointment, because they're coming and they want like the fastest, coolest, sexiest nutrition plan. And I'm asking them about water and they're like, oh, but I mean, ideally at minimum, the very like baseline is, are you getting half of your body weight in ounces of fluid a day? And coffee counts, soups and stews count, water, fruit.
So I'm doing the math in my head right now. I'm going,
right?
What is that? Yeah.
So
wait, break that down. So if someone weighs 150 pounds, what is that? It's 75 ounces. Okay, got it.
It's a great starting point.
Yep.
Great starting point. So chronic dehydration is the first one that I see. That is boring and not sexy at all. The second one is, and we talked about this earlier, being completely out of touch with when your body is actually hungry and when your body is actually satisfied. And I think that there are generational differences there, and there are definitely occupational differences there. So a SEAL, great example, is you make it through selection by completely ignoring everything that your body is telling you and making your body put one foot in front of the other.
That is true.
Keep going.
Yeah.
It's
yes.
how you make it, and it's 2, how you continue to make it and advance in your career. And then I sit down with, in that scenario, gentlemen for the most part, and they're like, well, I'm not hungry until 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, well, have you thought that maybe that's because for decades you've told your body that everything that you are doing is more important than eating and being hungry, and that's the one thing that you can tell your body to wait till later to do? So let's get back in touch with those hunger and satiety cues. So that's the second one.
Okay.
And the third one is, and I don't know how recently this came about, but people are doing what I like to call bad math.
Okay.
And bad math is, if I want to lean out, and I jokingly call that, everybody's on the LGN program. No matter who you are, no matter what you call it, whether it's mental acuity or performance or gaining muscle, losing fat, everybody wants LGN, which is look good naked. It summarizes everybody's life goals with every client I've ever worked with. And they think, well, big picture, whoever that voice is, big picture, whoever they are, for decades and decades said, if you want to lean out or lose fat, you need to be in calorie deficit. So humans wanting to be extremists, most of us are like, well, if cutting out some is good, then cutting out more is better. And I should lose fat faster, the less that I consume. And that actually ends up shooting people in the foot. So their weight will plateau, their body will go into starvation mode, your body will try to hold on to its fat stores. And for the last certainly 8 years, the majority of clients that I work with that wants to lean out, the amount of nutrition and foods that I recommend that they ingest in a day, they all look at me and they're like, this is way too much. This is way too much. And I'm fortunate enough to be with most of my clients part of a program where we do body composition assessment at the beginning and we do body composition assessment at the end. And they will be eating what they perceive as all of this food. And by the end of their programs, they have not only lost fat, but they have also gained muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So between chronic dehydration, lack of attention or internal ability to hear and honor true hunger and satiety cues, and then unintentionally over restricting, I would say those are the big three.
You mentioned the caloric deficit stuff a bunch of times here. Is that not true? Because I certainly still see, and actually, I don't know, is there a difference between a nutritionist and a dietitian? What do you call yourself one or the other?
There are.
Okay.
A dietitian, again, according to the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, is someone who either completed an undergraduate or a graduate level curriculum that contains a certain amount of biology, food science, and human nutrition, like certain core courses to give you the education to understand the body's metabolism, physiology, interactions. Then you have to do a required dietetic internship and go to different, whether it's hospitals and performance programs and all these different places that you could in fact work one day and learn how the on-the-job training goes and utilize your clinical skills. And then you have to pass an exam. Being a nutritionist could be a 2-hour computer certification that you. Yeah.
So dietitian is more certified, so to speak. I don't even know what the right word is.
It's a more formal education.
More formal education.
Let's call it that.
And that is what you are, right?
I am a registered
dietitian. Okay, got it. So, but getting back to the calorie thing, I still see that from licensed or less licensed, but whatever they are out there, people that say, is that not true? Is that not the case with, hey, if you're going to lose not necessarily weight, but fat, you need to be in a caloric deficit?
So the way that you phrase that is key. If you are focusing on losing fat, you do need to be in a slight caloric deficit, but people overshoot that dramatically. And then the question is, well, which macros of those calories am I supposed to be sacrificing? Should I be eating less protein, which is going to help me maintain my muscles and my bones? Should I be eating less fruit and vegetables? Should I be eating less nuts, seeds, olive oils? So again, the puzzle is for that person, where should that slight deficit come from?
Mm-hmm.
And it's different for everybody.
Okay. Got it. When you talked about the sort of blood work that you would do with people, is that like, what are the biomarkers you're looking at? Is it just sort of fasting glucose, cholesterol, maybe some of the vitamins like vitamin D and B12 and that kind of thing? Are there other things that you look at?
So I have been fortunate to work with organizations, and even with my clients, I have now found public-facing platforms where clients can go and get more robust blood work drawn. So yes, for sure. Things like hormones, things like cortisol, things like vitamin D, so various vitamins and minerals, but also some of the more traditional, the CBCs, complete blood counts, lipid panels for cholesterol and triglycerides, because it's all, it's the silo that we've talked about earlier, just thinking about one thing. So if the only thing that you're thinking about is, well, what is my cholesterol level?
Yes.
Well, you're missing all of these other markers. So in an ideal world, we have some big picture, because metrics for performance are not necessarily the same biomarkers for longevity. So you want a little bit more information if you're going to go down the biomarker rabbit hole.
Up next is Rob Wilson. Rob is a human performance specialist with over 20 years of experience in manual therapy, coaching, and education, who shares simple ways to fit workouts into your day, even something as easy as walking your dog.
People who are either continuing to participate in the thing they learned originally, that they chose, the experiment, if you will, that they chose, or they experimented on their own and found something else.
Yeah.
And so that's actually learning And so the core of changing health behavior can't just be like, here are some facts about stuff that works to help you. Those things are important, but that's not learning. Learning is when an individual takes a bit of information, they generate some experience, and then it gets braided together with their previous experience, and then they become something new on the other side of that. That's learning. If you just go like staring at the sun does this, people will go, oh, I did it, and then it's over.
Well, yes, and that's the thing that I find with all this, the hack stuff, is that one, people put stuff way out of priority, right? Their priorities get all out of whack, where it's like, I do all this. It's like, I get in a sauna and I do all this. And it's like, yeah, but is your diet good? And do you sleep enough? And like, do you exercise? Right. So to me, it's like, first, before you do anything else, eat well, generally speaking, get enough sleep and exercise. Like, just do those basics. And then if you're going to get into some of these things, and I like some of that. I mean, I respond really well to sauna, and I feel very good when I do that. It's like, okay, do it. But to your point, don't make it a checklist where it's like, I checked all these boxes every day. It's like, try these things and have some real awareness back to yourself of like, okay, is it actually making you feel better? Like, is it improving your life? And is it something that's sustainable for you? And not just like, cram 400 hacks into a day.
Exactly. And sometimes it can be very defeatist, right? And I know if we talk specifically again about the NSW community, sometimes it's like, okay, here's the ideal. It's like, well, I don't have time for all that. And so then it's a no.
Yeah, right.
So this is the 10 things I got to do in order to get to X. Well, I don't have time for all 10. So no. Next, rather than, hey, this is why I picked sun salutation. Hey, this takes 5 minutes. Do it while you make your coffee. Here's a checklist of things you should be thinking about while you're doing it. Did you even want to do it? Is stuff tighter or looser? How does it corroborate with another metric you're thinking about? Just do it for a week and pay attention, see what happens.
Yeah.
Or, recently one of the guys in the program was having a lot of trouble with sleep. Man, my deep sleep is really messed up. And he was like, is there like protocol I can do, or is this thing I can do? I'm like, well, are you local? Yes. Great. Do you have a dog? Yes. Do you walk it? No. Would your dog like to be walked? Yes. Great. Walk your dog for 10 to 30 minutes, whatever your day allows for, before you start your end of your night hanging out with your wife. All right, cool. Next day he's like, man, my deep sleep doubled. I'm like, great. So go for a walk. It doesn't try the easiest thing first.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
the most proximal solution? And that solution is free. He doesn't have to remember to turn it on. He's going to see his dog when he gets home from work, and the dog is going to start expecting to be walked, right? If you walk a dog at the same time for 2 days, that's the time they go for a walk now.
Yeah.
So when he walks in the door, the dog's going to be like, hey, let's go. It's time to do the thing. And it'll be like, shit, well, you'll bug me for an hour. So I'm just going to walk you for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because that's what I have. But now, right, that's in place. So a lot of this stuff is about understanding what's actually feasible behavior for the individual, and not like the double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized control trial. Those things are important to know because they help us define more clearly outcomes, effects, causation. But then a person who lives a real life outside of a lab has to do it. And that's a whole nother thing for everybody. That's really especially a whole nother thing when we talk about our active duty operators in particular, and the mountain of demands that are sitting on them and all the plates that they're trying to keep spinning. And so, okay, well, I don't want to give you a whole new plate. I'm just going to teach you how to spin this plate a little longer,
Yeah.
And so in class, we talk about, when we build a toolbox, we talk about some different concepts, like how do you select tools rather than thinking about hacks or tips or tricks. We think about what are the tools that you're going to have, right? Because you can have all the indicators in the world that tell you what the problem is, but if you don't have a way to address the problem, your only course of action is to continue forward with that problem, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, what tools do we have? Well, one model that we use is, this actually comes from my buddy Mickey Shook, and I've repurposed it for my class. It's called robust, reliable, repeatable. So the 3 R's. So are your tools robust? First of all, like, is the material that your tool is made out of, is it robust enough to withstand your use? That's part of it. But also, do you have a robust system? Does the tool require 12 steps to use? And do you have time and energy to learn those 12 steps? If not, it's a fragile. And so as soon as there's one bump, you won't use it. And so this is something I've come across doing consulting with wearable companies, where they're like, look how effective our meditation is. And I'm like, but you have a 7-minute meditation that takes 15 minutes because of all the setup. I have to find a quiet place. Are my kids around? I'm like, a 7-minute meditation doesn't take 7 minutes.
Right.
It takes 12 or 15. So in any case, is it robust? Then is it reliable? Right? So does it provide you with a consistent outcome? And do you know what the outcome is? Can you clearly state what you're trying to get and have a way to measure what you're trying to get, whether it's subjective or objective? Do you know what you're trying to achieve? And does that happen with enough frequency to justify the use of that tool? And then repeatable, which is, do I know how to deploy that tool with enough consistency to get an outcome?
Yeah.
Right. So there's lots of cool, fancy things. But if, again, I got to read a inch-thick manual to know how to use the leg massager 9000, it won't matter. As soon as it has one malfunction, it's out of my life.
Right.
Because I don't have time to figure it out. So robust, reliable, repeatable. And then we also talk about the idea of proximal to distal, which is what tools are close. What do I have access to? Those are the things where I'm going to put my time, the majority of my time and energy. Now, that doesn't mean tools that are close are better. It doesn't mean they're more effective. There are great tools, but if you don't have access to them, it doesn't matter. So know which tools you should rely on the most, what's proximal and what's distal. And the example I use a lot is like, man, you could have the best deep tissue massage therapist in the world, and whenever you see them, they fix your back right up. But if you can only see them every 4 months, and then you're waiting for your back to downslide for 4 months before anything is done, the average is still low.
Yeah.
So what tool do you have in your possession that will allow you to address the problem?
Finally, here's renowned trainer Tony Horton. You may know him as the creator of P90X and Power Nation. He breaks down how your environment, behavior, and genetics shape your quality of life, and how understanding these factors can help you live a healthier lifestyle at any age.
I'm a 6-day-a-week guy, right? So I hammered myself yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, I can barely straighten my arms, right? So tonight is cardio, right? Tonight's just sort of a, I'm going to go stationary bike, endless rope, heavy bag, treadmill, VersaClimber, rower, jump rope station, skier, slide board. 9 stations, twice, 3 minutes each. Then we go out in the front yard and do 130 meter hill sprints 8 times, 3 speeds. So
that's intense cardio, man.
Yeah, dude, burn that shit off. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
right?
Don't get me wrong, I like it, but that's like when people think cardio.
Yeah, I mean, I like it because I figured out a way that keeps me coming back, and I invite all my pals. You know what I mean? So we're all in the room, and we got the music cranked up, and we go. And this routine, and then of course, then Wednesday night is plyo for me. So it's not plyo boxes. I mean, that's sometimes I do that on Fridays, but it's just, you like jumping lunges, jumping squats, blah, blah, blah. We do 20 exercises, anywhere from 30 to 100 reps each. It's just no weights. Nobody's holding the weight. We're just getting off the ground as high as we can. We're going as low as to the floor as we can. And so at 66 this past winter in Jackson Hole, if you're a skier or snowboarder, the top of the tram.
I live in a ski town, so yes.
Where do you live?
Whitefish, Montana.
Oh, dude, come down and play with me, man. Come on.
I would love to. Yeah.
Well, come to Ted and Tony's yoga retreat next year. You got my information. We'll make sure you're all set up. But so the tram to the bottom is 4,000 feet. I just skied to the top of the bottom, and I could do that only in the last 3 years. I couldn't do it in my early 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, teens. No way. But I can do it now. Yeah. Because of my training. I mean, aging's for idiots.
What is changing? What do you mean by that? Actually, what is? I mean, certainly you talk about.
I had a shirt and people bought it. It was called "Aging is for Idiots," and of course, I wrote that because it starts a conversation. Because a lot of people are very offended by that. You know what I mean? But the writing aging is for people who aren't willing. Aging is for people who aren't willing to put the time and effort into slowing it down by doing the right thing. Yeah, that's another way.
It's not as catchy.
Not as catchy. So, but it's less offensive. So there's that.
Yeah, that's their issue.
Yeah. Aging is for people who really don't. Aging in a traditional manner is for people who aren't willing to figure out alternative way of living outside of what their parents and grandparents and ancestors did, and maybe their peers or whatever. You know what I mean? Like everybody knows that the quality of your life and your demise comes as a result of environment, behavior, and genetics. Right. So environment and behavior, I can change. Ended up with that.
You did. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
F you, Chris. Let me tell you, I'm making a point here.
Yeah.
So your environment is, your air, your water, the company that you keep, you know what I mean? Your stress levels, right? And behavior is, are you going to work out? Are you going to exercise? Do you have a mindfulness practice or not? If you don't have any of those things and you're in traffic all day and you're mean, you're screaming, and your cortisol levels are through the roof and your adrenal glands are fried. Well, yeah, you're susceptible to heart attack, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cancers, up and down. But if you're a super fit monk on a mountain drinking, water from a brook that starts in a fjord, whatever. There's a lot of ways. Like all our water, I got water filters all through the house. And we have a house, a whole house tap. So the water that comes out of our sinks and my shower is already super filtered. And then
we have the same thing. I've got a whole house like Aquasana filter in the garage that does all this stuff to pull.
Yep. And we think we know what the source of our food is, but look, you go to Whole Foods and find just as much garbage there as you can anywhere else. You got to be careful, and the supplement piece is a way to sort of combat, foods that are overcooked, they've been stored too long or processed or whatever it is. And there's a lot of stuff to know. And if you're willing to put the time and effort into it, then you can not only change your environment and your behavior, but you can change your genetics in your lifetime. It's called epigenetics. It's nothing, nothing that we don't already know about. So you just, I told people last night, who has parents in their 70s, 80s, maybe even their 90s, and a lot of folks have their hands in there. Keep your arms up if they're just killing it. They're just fit as a fiddle, and they're strong, and they're sharp, and they're riding their mountain bikes, and they're skiing with me, and all but 2 hands came down. I go, that's you people now, right? You are them and they are you, and that's it. You got to behave differently than they do. So, when 40 something hands came down, it meant that their parents weren't living the lifestyle that these people were hopefully trying to live. And it has to be like, Tony, how often how often do you brush your teeth, and how often do you breathe, and how often do you go to bed, and how often do you go to work, and how often do you pay your bills? All the time. And those people, they survive, and that's cute. Right, but they're not on the Appian Way in Italy on their mountain bike for 4.5 hours, like my wife and I. Right. You know what I mean? They're in their car looking at this shit with binoculars. Like, which one of those? Do you want to come to Jackson Hole and just watch from the tram ski, or do you want to rip some power at 100 miles an hour? You know what I mean? Like, some people just don't want to live that large. They don't want to push that much.
No, you're right. So some people,
you can do it. You can do it. Some people can lead a horse to water, man, but.
Are there things though that you've changed as you've gotten older, where you do it differently or whatever? Like you just approach things differently than you did 20, 30 years ago?
A lot. Most of it is 70% of it is I still lift on days where I feel like I can go. I'll lift heavy. I'm not afraid to lift heavy. Knees are good. Shoulders are good. I'll get on an incline bench press and push some, heavy for me now. I mean, I used to bench 75s. Heavy for me now is like 60s. I can't lift as heavy. I do a lot more high rep dumbbell rehab type moves. A move where you go up here, a lot of that stuff. Right. A lot more bands. I warm up longer now. Animal flow I mean, yoga's been a piece of my thing forever. I mean, I never miss yoga. I do it every week. I teach a class every Friday here at my house. And of all the people that I invite, and I invite dozens and dozens, I never get more than 2 people who show up to yoga. Just because I don't know what's wrong with people. And I keep saying, hey man, if you want to be more durable and less vulnerable as you move forward through this journey, you better figure it out. Animal flow is a way to get there. Pilates is a way to get there.
Are you doing hot yoga at all, or is it just, or like?
No, in my house, I just turn the heat on.
Yeah.
And close the doors and windows, and it's probably like 80 in there. It's not hot yoga. And I've done hot yoga, and I enjoy it. I just don't, when I'm in Jackson Hole, I'll go to an occasional hot yoga class. But most of the yoga that I do is just regular temperature yoga. Hatha flow, that's kind of my thing. Surya Namaskar A, B, blah, 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 warrior 1, warrior 2, whatever, triangle, right angle pose, half moon, reverse half moon, the stuff that's kind of P90X stuff, that's that. But I would say that the big changes is, for me, that I've discovered maybe about 5 years ago that I put as much emphasis on as everything else is speed, balance, and range of motion. That's where the gold is when it comes to getting older. So speed, for example, is, do you do push-ups at the same rate? No, man. You slow them down or you speed them up. How do you? And that's why I'm running out in the hill. I read an article in the New York Times that 80% of Americans after the 80, I think that's maybe what it was. A percentage of Americans after the age of 30 will never run fast again. I'm like, I haven't been running fast. I used to go to the track and do it back in the day, but it's been over a decade.
It's a good point. It's time. Yeah. I never thought about that, but you're right. People just don't do that.
When do you go?
Run. They just go run slow.
Right. The only time they run is when they're playing a picnic or a corporate baseball game, and they hit the ball, and then halfway between home plate and first base, both hamstrings go.
That's exactly right. Yes, that's right.
Right.
Yep.
So running fast isn't something that you just go out and do. Like our warm-ups are forever. And I've already pulled I think I'm doing the sprint thing, I don't know, almost a year. And maybe about 9 months, adding that to my cardio circuit. I've pulled one of my 2 hamstrings at least 6 times already. And it's like, oh, well, there's that for the next 4 weeks or whatever, So, and because there's all, you're like, oh, I feel good today, and I got my stopwatch in my hand. And, and then we're doing the warp wall at the Ninja course in Santa Ana. And I got all the way up, got the end. I go, whoa, and my wife goes, I didn't see it. Oh, fuck, son of a... It's like, these suckers are vulnerable when they're 66 years old. But so what? You do your RICE acronym, and you come back another day, man,
On that recovery stuff, what do you do that works the best for you? Between like red light therapy, ice baths, sauna,
I would say foam rolling. Foam rolling is number one, whether it's a rumble roll or a regular thing, or just like I have double lacrosse ball, single lacrosse ball in the chest, in the shoulder, and the IT, blah, blah, blah. That seems to be, and it's the most painful, of course, cold plunges. I had 2 of them. I gave them both away.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because the maintenance on them is a pain in the ass.
Like the fountain of youth is cold plunge. Like you're gonna live forever if you're.
You know what? I don't heat my pool, and it's probably whatever, 62 degrees, and that seems to do it for me. Or I just get in I have a bathtub, right? I just fill it with cold water, and it's plenty ass cold, and that seems to do enough. Yeah, the whole cold plunge trend, I don't know if that'll still be as popular a couple of years from now. And the part of it, there's the whole filter and the on and off, and the filter turns black. And what am I, a maintenance man now too with my cold plunge? Whatever, I have other ones. And I take, I love a good nap, a new fighter nap. I don't know. A friend of mine was Bill, before he was a Navy SEAL, was a Navy pilot. So he told us about fighter naps and how that was kind of a key thing. Don't do more than 20 minutes or you're not going to wake up and know what day it is. And I've learned that lesson. I used to take a nap. I go, whatever, I'll wake up whenever. And I wake up, an hour and a half later, and I'm just worthless. Because my circadian cycle is like, is this nighttime? What are you doing? Is it going to bed now? Or you're just like REM, deep, whatever, And so I just, little quickies, and they help me. But when it comes to sore muscles and whatnot, cold shower after regular shower, getting a cold tub, Epsom salt baths, favorite. And 2 cups, boom, boom. That gives me great relief. And I'm also somewhat genetically set up. I'm already pretty flexible anyway.
Oh, okay.
Like I can not do yoga for 2 months and I can get right back in the game. I am naturally a little bit on the flexible side. And I also know how to back off. You know what I mean? I so that I don't have to be spending too much time doing recovery stuff, rest and recovery stuff. I know that the day before, like yesterday, I was really sore. Today's a completely different modality, right? It's all cardio. The heavy bag is arms, but I'm not lifting anything. The VersaClimber's arms, but I'm not doing, pike presses, right? So, one's hypertrophy. The other one is just cardiovascular, just working heart, lungs, and mostly legs, right?
Yeah.
So.
Thanks for listening to On the X, the official podcast of the Navy SEAL Foundation and an Ironclad original series. Learn more at NavySealFoundation.org or text On the X to 60104. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.